Hey, are you at the beginning of your tarot journey? Well then stick around. In this video, you are going to learn how to read tarot instantly. Hi, it's Leia. Welcome to this episode of Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life. I am beginning a series of videos especially tailored for anyone who wants to learn to read tarot. What I am teaching you is coming from my personal approach. There are many different ways that you can read tarot, so if you resonate with how I do it, then maybe there's something you can learn here. Now, I'd mentioned that this is part of a series for beginners. This could also be a refresher for those starting over in their tarot journey or those who are open to evolving their existing practice. If you're looking to see if there's anything else that resonates with you out there. I might be doing a more in-depth video or even course in the future, but to make it easy, I am going to be splitting up different topics in this series. That way, it's more easily digestible, and it will give you time to absorb new information in between videos. In this video, we are using the Lightseers Tarot by Chris Ann whenever I need help with any demos. This is one of those decks whose artwork I really love. The first tip I'm going to tell you here in this short version of how to read tarot is to decide how you're using it. Tarot is a tool, and one of the most popular uses of tarot is fortune telling. You may have heard me mention in other videos that my personal style is more psychological in nature. So it's not predictive. Instead, it's about doing personal growth work. And that is the approach that I'm taking in all these videos. It's more along the lines of shadow work where you dive deep into your thoughts and your feelings, those parts of yourself that you might have been in denial of, or you might not have even known existed, and now you're taking a look at all of these so that you can grow in awareness and be more intentional with your life. Okay, so there are a few different tarot systems. There's a variety of decks based on these different systems. To name a few popular ones, there's the Tarot of Marseille, the Thoth Tarot, and the Rider-Waite-Smith. I personally follow the Rider-Waite-Smith system, and so what I'll be sharing with you in these videos will be based on the Rider-Waite-Smith as well. The reason I mention these different systems is if you decide, as time goes on, that you want to devote energy to learning tarot, instead of it being more of a casual interest or something that you just do from time to time, then it might help to have that knowledge. You don't really have to think about that too much as of yet, but I'm planting the seed. So let's say you already have your deck and you want to jump in, whether it's to give yourself a reading or someone else. Yes, absolutely, it's a good idea to be in a certain frame of mind when you begin, to set intentions and all that, and that's another one of the things that we'll be covering sometime. In this video, I won't be teaching you how to pick the deck you use, the different ways you can shuffle your cards, etc. Right now, just to get your feet wet, just to begin to get a feel for it. How do you do that? How do you instantly read tarot? There may be different methods that other people will share with you based on what they've learned, but here's what I'm going to share with you in this video. Okay, so let's take one card as an example. I'll pull the top card right here. It's the Three of Swords, and I'll put it right here just so we can see it. What you want to do is you take the book or booklet that comes with the cards, or if you have the option to do this, do some research prior to beginning and get what appears to be, from reviews, a pretty good tarot meanings book. Open the book or booklet up to the meaning of that card. Okay, so Three of Swords. I'm looking for it right now. Here we go. I'll put it right there. So it says, Lightseer. Painful separation, loss, heartbreak, an opportunity to heal, shadows coming to light, finding inspiration again. And then we also have Shadow Seer, which stands for the meaning of the card reversed, by the way. And that's a whole nother thing that you don't even have to think about at this point. So what you're gonna do is read the whole thing, and in a reading for yourself, what you're gonna be paying attention to is what stands out to you. Okay, so I'm looking at the book right now. Just to give an example. And I see here, under Shadow Seer, not accepting loss, a need to heal, being stuck in your grief or sadness, not seeing the part you played in a loss or heartbreak. Okay, let's say that's what stands out to me. What I'm gonna do is write that down in my journal, which begins a whole nother aspect of having a tarot practice, by the way, which is tarot journaling. Or if you don't want to keep a tarot journal, write it down in a notebook, because you're going to want to have that to look at. And it's perfectly all right as a beginner that you have the book in front of you. Even if there's someone that you're reading for, especially if they know that you are just starting, what we do with this approach is the cards act as a mirror. You know how when you look in a mirror, there are certain things that stand out to you, but consciously, you don't see or pick apart every little thing that's reflected there. What in your life right now, what current thoughts or feelings match the meaning of the card that you read? In that sense, it's sort of like therapy, except of course you do give the disclaimer that you aren't a therapist and this isn't supposed to replace therapy. But you're unpacking what you might not have taken the time to examine yet prior to this card coming up and reminding you that, hey, in this case, the Three of Swords, this hurt exists within you. You haven't given yourself time to mourn over this heartbreak that happened a year ago. You've been pretending that everything's all right. And I do have to tell you, my personal approach, if this is what you'll be following in your own tarot practice or integrating into your own tarot practice, it calls for you to learn how to hold space, to be non-judgmental, to allow other people to share what's going on in their lives rather than you telling them, I see that this is what's going to be happening for you. Of course, if you're intuitive, which we'll get to at another time, then here and there may be certain things that you want to share, but you aren't speaking over your client or your friend. Let's say you're not doing it professionally, but you do it for some friends. You let them tell you, you let them speak about what it is they're thinking and feeling, and you don't give them advice. Instead, with questions, you guide them to take a look at what feels right for them. You help them arrive at their own answers. So let's give a quick example of that, still using this same card. Let's say what stood out to somebody is the heartbreak aspect of this card. And so they share a story about someone who passed, that they didn't allow themselves to mourn because life goes on, and they found that if ever they slipped into grieving in any way, they started to feel depressed, and they didn't want that because, hey, they have a job to go to, they have mouths to feed, and it would get in the way of them fulfilling their responsibilities if they slipped into grief. But now, here with you, they're finally allowing themselves to share that, to unload that burden, to begin to take a look at these feelings that they swept under the rug. What's next is you could ask them what they want to do about that at this point, how they want to address it. That's the kind of guidance that I'm talking about here. Not the kind of guidance where you tell them what you think is right based on your personal beliefs. So with this method, there's no worry over, oh, did I predict right? Did my intuition pick up correctly on what's going on in the life of the person I'm reading? Instead, the focus is on being present for that person, on allowing them the space to begin their process of healing. And this may be a very different lesson than what you were expecting if you're used to hearing about tarot as just a fortune-telling tool. My approach that I'm sharing with you is meant to help you when you're reading for yourself and others discover what works for them in that moment. It helps us tap into where we are, even if we know that in the future we want to do something else, but it helps you be honest. There's no judgment, remember? So even if, let's say what this card shows you is, oh, you've been so depressed and you haven't been motivated, now's the time that you can allow yourself to own that and admit it, rather than pretending. Let's say you've been around people who shame you for not having any motivation, so you've been pretending that you're okay. Well, even if you don't admit it to other people because they don't understand, this work with tarot that I'm teaching you about right here will help you to be more honest with yourself and no longer carry the burden of pretending. Once that you touch upon certain truths or certain aspects that you might have been in denial of before. And hopefully, in watching these videos, even though technically it's about teaching how to read tarot and whatnot, you can begin to find healing in some way. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. This was just a little tidbit. Of course, you could stretch that tidbit out and do a lot with it, but this was just one little tidbit in a really huge journey that we can take together if you so choose. I'm super excited to make more videos in this series, as well as the other videos that you'll see on this channel, like the weekly readings and whatnot, so stay tuned for so much more. Take care of yourself. I'll be back really soon. Bye for now. More Diaries of a Witchy Creative Life made with love coming your way.